You're walking down the street on a beautiful sunny day, birds are singing, flowers are blooming, and yet you can't seem to shake off that feeling of emptiness, that nagging sense that something is missing from your life. You're not alone. In today's fast-paced, high-stress world, it's all too easy to get caught up in the daily grind and forget what truly matters, your own happiness and well-being. But what if I told you that happiness is not some elusive, unattainable goal? What if I told you that true, lasting happiness is within your reach, and that it all starts with a few simple, yet powerful changes in your daily life? Hi, I'm here, and today I want to share with you 10 simple ways to make yourself happy. These are not grand, sweeping gestures or complex philosophies, but rather small, practical steps that you can start implementing today to cultivate more joy, more peace, and more fulfillment in your life. The first and most fundamental way to make yourself happy is to practice gratitude. And what I mean by that is to actively focus on the things in your life that you're thankful for, no matter how big or small they may be. You see, so often we get caught up in what we lack, in what we don't have, or what we haven't achieved. We compare ourselves to others and find ourselves always chasing some external goal or validation that we think will make us happy. But the truth is, happiness is not something that exists outside of ourselves. It's not something we can find in material possessions or achievements or relationships. Happiness is an inside job, and it all starts with gratitude. When you cultivate a practice of gratitude, when you take time each day to acknowledge and appreciate the blessings in your life, something incredible starts to happen. You start to shift your focus from what you lack to what you have, from what's going wrong to what's going wrong. And as you do, you start to feel a sense of abundance and sufficiency, a deep knowing that you have everything you need to be happy and fulfilled in this moment. So start practicing gratitude today. Start each morning by writing down 3 things you're grateful for, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant they may be. Take time throughout the day to pause and appreciate the good in your life, whether it's a kind word from a friend, a delicious meal, or simply the beauty of the world around you. And as you do, watch as your perspective starts to shift. Watch as you start to find joy and contentment in the present moment rather than always chasing some future happiness that never quite arrives. The second way to make yourself happy is to cultivate mindfulness. And what I mean by that is to learn to be present and aware in each moment, to fully engage with your life as it's unfolding, rather than getting lost in thoughts of the past or worries about the future. You see, so much of our unhappiness stems from our tendency to live in our heads, to get caught up in the endless chatter of our thoughts and emotions. We replay past mistakes and failures, we anticipate future challenges and fears, and in doing so, we miss out on the beauty and richness of the present moment. But when you cultivate mindfulness, when you learn to anchor yourself in the here and now, something incredible starts to happen. You start to find a sense of peace and clarity and balance that was previously missing from your life. You start to appreciate the small, ordinary moments that make up your day, rather than always chasing some grand, extraordinary experience. You start to respond to challenges and setbacks with greater resilience and equanimity, knowing that each moment is an opportunity to learn and grow and evolve. And as you do, you start to tap into a deep well of happiness and contentment that exists within you, a sense of inner peace and fulfillment that is not dependent on external circumstances or validation. So start cultivating mindfulness today. Start by taking a few deep breaths and simply noticing your thoughts and sensations and emotions without judging or trying to change them. Practice being fully present in each moment, whether you're eating a meal, taking a walk, or engaging in a conversation with a loved one. And as you do, watch as your mind starts to quiet. Watch as you start to find joy and beauty in the simple, ordinary moments of your life and cultivate a deeper sense of peace and happiness that radiates from within. The third way to make yourself happy is to practice self-care. And what I mean by that is to prioritize your own physical, mental, and emotional well-being, to treat yourself with the same kindness and compassion and respect that you would extend to a beloved friend or family member. You see, so often we neglect our own needs in the pursuit of external goals and validation. We push ourselves to the brink of burnout, we sacrifice our health and happiness for the sake of others, and in doing so, we deplete ourselves of the very resources we need to show up fully in our lives. But when you practice self-care, when you make your own well-being a non-negotiable priority, something incredible starts to happen. You start to feel more energized, more resilient, more capable of handling the challenges and stresses of daily life. You start to cultivate a deep sense of self-love and self-worth, a knowing that you are deserving of care and compassion and respect simply because you are a human being with inherent value and dignity. And as you do, you start to radiate that love and compassion outward to show up more fully and authentically in your relationships, in your work, in your life as a whole. So start practicing self-care today. Start by identifying the activities and practices that nourish and rejuvenate you, whether it's taking a bath, reading a book, practicing yoga, or simply taking a few moments to breathe deeply and center yourself. Make time for these activities every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Treat yourself with the same kindness and gentleness and respect that you would extend to a dear friend, and watch as your sense of happiness and well-being starts to grow. The fourth way to make yourself happy is to cultivate meaningful relationships. And what I mean by that is to surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you, who support and challenge you to be your best self, who make you feel seen and heard and valued. You see, we are social creatures by nature. We thrive on connection and belonging and love, and when we feel isolated or disconnected or unsupported, it takes a toll on our happiness and well-being. But when you cultivate meaningful relationships, when you build a network of people who truly see and appreciate you for who you are, something incredible starts to happen. You start to feel a sense of belonging and purpose and meaning that goes beyond your individual self. You start to experience the joy and fulfillment that comes from sharing your life with others, from supporting and being supported, from giving and receiving love in all its many forms. And as you do, you start to tap into a deep well of happiness and resilience that can carry you through even the toughest of times. So start cultivating meaningful relationships today. Start by identifying the people in your life who make you feel seen and heard and valued, and make a commitment to nurturing those relationships with your time and attention and care. Reach out to old friends and make new ones. Join communities and groups that align with your values and interests. Practice vulnerability and authenticity in your interactions with others, and watch as your sense of connection and belonging starts to grow. The fifth way to make yourself happy is to find your purpose. And what I mean by that is to identify the unique gifts and talents and passions that you have to offer the world, and to use them in service of something greater than yourself. You see, so often we go through life on autopilot, just going through the motions without any real sense of direction or meaning. We work jobs that don't fulfill us, we engage in activities that don't light us up, and in doing so, we deprive ourselves of the deep sense of purpose and satisfaction that comes from living a life aligned with our values and our truth. But when you find your purpose, when you discover the work that you were meant to do in the world, something incredible starts to happen. You start to feel a sense of excitement and enthusiasm and joy that infuses every aspect of your life. You start to wake up each day with a sense of clarity and focus and determination, knowing that you are using your unique gifts and talents to make a difference in the world, to contribute something of value to the greater good. And as you do, you start to tap into a deep well of happiness and fulfillment that goes beyond mere pleasure or satisfaction. You start to experience the joy and meaning that comes from living a life of purpose and passion and service. So start finding your purpose today. Start by reflecting on the things that light you up, the activities and causes and ideas that make you come alive. Identify the unique strengths and talents and experiences that you have. Of course, finding your purpose is not always easy. It can take time and introspection and experimentation, and there may be moments of doubt and uncertainty along the way. But the key is to trust the journey, to stay open and curious and willing to explore, and to follow the threads of joy and meaning wherever they may lead you. And as you do, remember that your purpose doesn't have to be some grand, world-changing mission. It can be as simple as bringing more kindness and compassion into your daily interactions, or using your creativity to bring beauty and joy into the lives of others. The most important thing is to stay true to yourself, to honor your own unique gifts and passions and values, and to let them guide you towards a life that feels authentic and fulfilling to you. The sixth way to make yourself happy is to practice forgiveness. And what I mean by that is to let go of the grudges and resentments and anger that we hold on to often for years or even decades, and to cultivate a spirit of compassion and understanding towards ourselves and others. You see, holding on to unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It doesn't hurt them, but it slowly erodes our own happiness and well-being, keeping us stuck in a cycle of negativity and pain. But when you practice forgiveness, when you make the conscious choice to release the past and move forward with an open heart, something incredible starts to happen. You start to feel a sense of lightness and freedom and peace that was previously weighed down by the burden of resentment. You start to see the humanity in others, to recognize that we are all flawed and imperfect beings doing the best we can with what we have. And in doing so, you open yourself up to greater compassion and connection and love. Now, this doesn't mean condoning hurtful behavior or staying in toxic relationships. Forgiveness is not about absolving others of responsibility or allowing yourself to be mistreated. It's about releasing the emotional charge that we attach to past wounds so that we can heal and move forward with greater clarity and peace. So start practicing forgiveness today. Start by identifying the people or situations that you're holding on to resentment towards and make the conscious choice to let it go. Practice empathy and understanding towards yourself and others, recognizing that we are all on our own journeys of growth and learning. And as you do, watch as your heart starts to open. Watch as you start to experience greater compassion and connection and love, both for yourself and for the world around you. The seventh way to make yourself happy is to cultivate a growth mindset. And what I mean by that is to approach life with a spirit of curiosity and openness and willingness to learn, rather than a fixed belief in your own limitations or abilities. You see, so often we hold ourselves back with self-limiting beliefs and fears. We tell ourselves that we're not good enough, smart enough, talented enough to achieve our dreams or make a difference in the world. And in doing so, we create a self-fulfilling prophecy, holding ourselves back from the very things that could bring us joy and fulfillment. But when you cultivate a growth mindset, when you embrace the idea that you are always learning and evolving and growing, something incredible starts to happen. You start to approach challenges and setbacks with a sense of curiosity and determination, seeing them as opportunities to learn and grow and stretch yourself beyond your comfort zone. You start to celebrate your own progress and achievements, no matter how small or incremental they may be. And in doing so, you build a sense of self-efficacy and resilience that can carry you through even the toughest of times. So start cultivating a growth mindset today. Start by reframing your own self-talk, replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Embrace challenges and setbacks as opportunities for growth and learning, and celebrate your own progress and achievements along the way. And as you do, watch as your sense of possibility starts to expand. Watch as you start to take on new challenges and pursue new dreams with a greater sense of confidence and resilience than ever before. The eighth way to make yourself happy is to practice acts of kindness. And what I mean by that is to actively look for opportunities to make a positive difference in the lives of others, whether through small gestures of compassion or larger acts of service and generosity. You see, so often we get caught up in our own needs and desires, focusing solely on what we can get rather than what we can give. But when we shift our focus outward, when we make a conscious effort to bring more kindness and compassion into the world, something incredible starts to happen. We start to experience the joy and fulfillment that comes from making a positive difference in the lives of others. We start to feel more connected and engaged with the world around us, knowing that our actions are contributing to something greater than ourselves. And as we do, we start to cultivate a deeper sense of happiness and well-being that goes beyond mere pleasure or satisfaction. We start to tap into the innate human desire to be of service, to use our unique gifts and talents to make the world a better place. So start practicing acts of kindness today. Start by looking for small ways to make a difference in your daily life, whether it's offering a kind word to a stranger, helping a neighbor with a task, or simply listening with empathy and compassion to someone who needs to be heard. Challenge yourself to perform at least one act of kindness each day, and watch as your sense of connection and purpose starts to grow. Watch as you start to experience the deep joy and fulfillment that comes from making a positive difference in the world, one small act at a time. The ninth way to make yourself happy is to embrace creativity. And what I mean by that is to actively engage in activities that allow you to express your unique voice and vision, whether through art, music, writing, or any other creative pursuit that lights you up. You see, we are all inherently creative beings with a deep desire to express ourselves and bring our ideas and dreams to life. But so often we suppress that creativity in the pursuit of practicality or productivity, telling ourselves that we don't have time or talent or permission to indulge in our creative passions. But when you embrace creativity, when you make time and space for your own self-expression, something incredible starts to happen. You start to tap into a deep well of joy and meaning and purpose that goes beyond mere entertainment or distraction. You start to experience the thrill of bringing something new and beautiful into the world, of sharing your unique perspective and vision with others. And in doing so, you cultivate a deeper sense of self-awareness and self-acceptance, knowing that your creative voice is an essential part of who you are. So start embracing creativity today. Start by identifying the creative pursuits that light you up, whether it's painting, writing, dancing, or anything in between. Make time and space for these activities in your daily life, even if it's just for a few minutes each day. And as you do, watch as your sense of joy and meaning starts to grow. Watch as you start to tap into your own unique voice and vision and experience the deep fulfillment that comes from sharing your creativity with the world. The 10th and final way to make yourself happy is to cultivate resilience. And what I mean by that is to develop the inner strength and flexibility to bounce back from setbacks and challenges, to stay grounded in your own sense of purpose and meaning even in the face of adversity. You see, life is full of ups and downs, of joys and sorrows, of triumphs and disappointments. And while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond to it, how we choose to show up in the face of difficulty and uncertainty. And when you cultivate resilience, when you develop the inner resources to weather life's storms with grace and grit, something incredible starts to happen. You start to experience a deeper sense of peace and equanimity, knowing that you have the strength and courage to handle whatever comes your way. You start to approach challenges and setbacks with a sense of curiosity and determination, seeing them as opportunities for growth and learning rather than insurmountable obstacles. And in doing so, you tap into a deep well of happiness and fulfillment that is not dependent on external circumstances, but rather on your own inner reserves of strength and wisdom. So start cultivating resilience today. Start by developing a daily practice of mindfulness and self-reflection, taking time each day to check in with yourself and your own inner landscape. Practice self-compassion and self-care, treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would extend to a beloved friend. Surround yourself with supportive and uplifting people and seek out experiences and challenges that help you grow and stretch beyond your comfort zone. And most importantly, trust in your own inner strength and wisdom, knowing that you have everything you need to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and resilience.
Life is a journey filled with ups and downs, twists and turns, moments of pure joy and times of deep despair. We all face challenges, setbacks, and periods of darkness that test our resolve and shake the very foundations of our being. But it is precisely in these moments of difficulty that we have the greatest opportunity for growth, transformation, and self-discovery. Today, I want to speak to you about how to navigate through the storms of life, how to find light in the darkest of times, and how to emerge stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your true self. First and foremost, we must understand that difficulties and low points are not punishments or signs that we are on the wrong path. They are integral parts of the human experience, opportunities for learning and evolution. When we shift our perspective and begin to see challenges as teachers rather than tormentors, we open ourselves up to the profound wisdom that lies within every struggle. Think back to a time in your life when you faced a significant challenge. Perhaps it was the loss of a loved one, a financial setback, a health crisis, or a personal failure. In the midst of that pain and uncertainty, it may have felt as though your world was crumbling around you. But as you stand here today, having overcome that obstacle, can you not see how that experience shaped you, taught you, and ultimately led you to become the person you are now? This is the paradox of life's difficulties. They often contain within them the seeds of our greatest growth and most profound realizations. It's as though the universe, in its infinite wisdom, knows exactly what experiences we need to evolve and expand our consciousness. When we resist these experiences, when we rail against them and ask, "Why me?" we only prolong our suffering and miss the valuable lessons they offer. So the first step in getting through the low points in life is to change our relationship with difficulty itself. Instead of seeing it as an enemy to be vanquished, we must learn to approach it with curiosity, openness, and even a sense of gratitude for the opportunity to learn, to grow, to become more of who we truly are. This shift in perspective is not always easy, especially when we're in the throes of pain or despair, but it is a muscle that we can strengthen with practice. Each time we face a challenge, no matter how small, we can pause and ask ourselves, what is this situation trying to teach me? How can I use this experience to become a better, stronger, more compassionate version of myself? As we cultivate this mindset, we begin to see that every difficulty carries within it a gift. Sometimes that gift is obvious, a lesson learned, a skill developed, a relationship strengthened. Other times, the gift may be more subtle, a deepening of our empathy, a softening of our judgment, a broadening of our perspective. But always, there is something to be gained if we are willing to look for it. Now, I'm not suggesting that we should seek out hardship or revel in our pain. Not at all. But when difficulties inevitably arise, as they do in every life, we can choose to approach them with a spirit of openness and growth rather than fear and resistance. This brings me to another crucial aspect of navigating life's low points: the power of our thoughts and beliefs. Wayne Dyer often said, "When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change." This profound truth is especially relevant when we're facing challenges. Our thoughts are not mere passive observers of our reality. They are active creators of our experience. The stories we tell ourselves about our difficulties, the meaning we assign to our struggles, have a profound impact on how we navigate through them. Consider two people facing the same challenge. Let's say the loss of a job. One person might think, "This is terrible. I'm a failure. I'll never find another job. My life is over." The other might think, "This is an opportunity for a fresh start. I have skills and experience. I can use this time to explore new possibilities and find work that truly fulfills me." Same situation, vastly different thoughts, and as a result, vastly different experiences. The first person is likely to sink into despair, perhaps even give up on looking for work altogether. The second person, while acknowledging the difficulty of the situation, is open to the possibilities it presents and is more likely to take positive action. This is the power of our thoughts. They shape our emotions, influence our actions, and ultimately create our reality. When we're going through a low point in life, it's easy to fall into negative thought patterns. Our minds can become like a broken record, repeating the same dark thoughts over and over again. But here's the good news. We have the power to change those thoughts. We are not at the mercy of our minds. We can choose what we think, what we focus on, what we believe. This is not about denying the reality of our situation or pretending that everything is fine when it's not. It's about consciously directing our thoughts in ways that empower us rather than defeat us. One powerful way to do this is through affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that we repeat to ourselves, either silently or out loud. They help to rewire our thought patterns and create new neural pathways in our brains. When we're going through a difficult time, we can use affirmations to remind ourselves of our strengths, our resilience, and our inherent worth. I am strong enough to handle whatever comes my way. This too shall pass, and I will emerge stronger. I trust in the process of life and know that this challenge is helping me grow. I am worthy of love, success, and happiness, regardless of my current circumstances. At first, these statements might feel false or forced. That's okay. The point is not to convince yourself of something you don't believe, but to plant seeds of new possibilities in your mind. As you continue to repeat these affirmations, especially in moments of doubt or fear, you'll find that they begin to take root. They become a counterbalance to the negative thoughts that often arise during difficult times. Another powerful tool for changing our thoughts is visualization. Our brains don't distinguish between what we vividly imagine and what we actually experience. When we visualize positive outcomes, when we imagine ourselves overcoming our challenges and thriving, we create a blueprint that our subconscious mind works to make a reality. So take time each day to visualize yourself moving through your current difficulties with grace and strength. See yourself coming out on the other side, not just surviving, but thriving. Feel the emotions of joy, pride, and gratitude that accompany this. The more real you can make this visualization, the more powerful its effect will be. Now, I want to address something that often comes up when we talk about positive thinking and affirmations. Some people worry that by focusing on positive thoughts, they're somehow denying the reality of their situation or engaging in wishful thinking. But that's not what this is about at all. Acknowledging the reality of our challenges is important. We need to be honest with ourselves about what we're facing. But acknowledging reality doesn't mean dwelling on it constantly or allowing it to define us. We can acknowledge our difficulties while still choosing to focus on possibilities rather than limitations, on solutions rather than problems. This is what I call realistic optimism. It's not about pretending everything is perfect or that challenges don't exist. It's about facing our difficulties squarely while maintaining faith in our ability to overcome them and in the ultimate benevolence of the universe. Which brings me to another crucial aspect of getting through life's low points: faith. Now, when I say faith, I'm not necessarily talking about religious faith, although that can certainly be a source of strength for many people. I'm talking about a deep, unshakable belief in something greater than ourselves, whether we call it God, the universe, source energy, or simply life itself. This kind of faith provides an anchor in the storm of life. It reminds us that we are part of something larger, that there is a greater purpose to our experiences, even when we can't see or understand it in the moment. Cultivating this faith doesn't mean passively waiting for some external force to solve our problems. Rather, it means trusting in the process of life, believing that everything happens for a reason, even if that reason isn't immediately apparent, and knowing that we have within us the resources to handle whatever comes our way. This faith can be particularly powerful when we're facing situations that seem beyond our control. There are times in life when, despite our best efforts, we simply can't change our external circumstances. In these moments, faith reminds us that while we can't control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond. Viktor Frankl, the renowned psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, spoke powerfully about this in his book, Man's Search for Meaning. Even in the horrific conditions of the concentration camps, Frankl observed that there were individuals who maintained their dignity, their compassion, and even their sense of purpose. They couldn't change their circumstances, but they could choose their attitude, their behavior, their inner state. This is the ultimate freedom that no one can take away from us. The freedom to choose our response to life's events. When we embrace this freedom, when we take responsibility for our inner state, regardless of our outer circumstances, we reclaim we are no longer victims of life, but active participants in it. Now, taking responsibility for our inner state doesn't mean we should suppress or deny our negative emotions. Quite the opposite. In fact, acknowledging and allowing our feelings, even the difficult ones, is an essential part of moving through life's challenges. Too often, we try to push away our pain, our fear, our anger. We judge these emotions as bad or wrong, and in doing so, we create inner conflict and resistance that only prolongs our suffering. But all emotions serve a purpose. They are messengers, bringing us important information about ourselves and our circumstances. So instead of trying to force yourself to be happy when you're going through a difficult time, allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling. Give yourself permission to be sad, angry, scared, or whatever emotion arises. Sit with these feelings, breathe into them. Allow them to move through you without judgment. As you do this, you may find that the intensity of the emotions begins to lessen by not resisting them, by not getting caught up in stories about what they mean or how long they'll last. You allow them to flow through you naturally. This is the paradox of emotions. The more we allow them, the more quickly they pass. At the same time, it's important not to get stuck in our emotions or to use them as an excuse for harmful behavior. Feel your feelings, yes, but also remember that you are not your feelings. They are temporary states that pass through you like weather patterns in the sky of your consciousness. You are the sky, vast, open, unchanging, not the weather. This understanding that we are not our thoughts or our emotions, but the awareness that experiences them is a profound realization that can transform our relationship with life's difficulties. It gives us a place of inner stillness and peace that we can access even in the midst of outer turmoil. Meditation is a powerful tool for cultivating this awareness. By sitting quietly and observing our thoughts and feelings without getting caught up in them, we begin to experience ourselves as the witness, the consciousness behind our experiences. This creates a sense of spaciousness around our difficulties, allowing us to respond to them with greater clarity and wisdom. Even a few minutes of meditation each day can make a significant difference in how we navigate life's challenges. It doesn't have to be complicated. Simply sitting quietly and focusing on your breath. Gently bringing your attention back whenever your mind wanders is a powerful practice. As you do this regularly, you'll find that you're better able to maintain your center even when life. Another crucial aspect of getting through life's low points is the power of connection. As human beings, we are inherently social creatures. We need each other, not just for physical survival, but for emotional and spiritual well-being. Yet when we're going through difficult times, we often isolate ourselves. We may feel ashamed of our struggles or worry about being a burden to others. We may feel that no one could possibly understand what we're going through. But it's precisely during these times that we need connection the most. Reaching out to others, whether it's friends, family, a support group, or a professional counselor that can provide us with the support, perspective, and comfort we need to move through our challenges. Remember, asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom and strength. It takes courage to be vulnerable, to admit that we're struggling and that we need support. But when we do, we often find that our relationships deepen, that we're not as alone as we thought, and that others are grateful for the opportunity to support us. Moreover, helping others can be a powerful way to lift ourselves out of our own difficulties. When we focus on alleviating the suffering of others, even in small ways, we often find that our own pain lessens. We gain perspective on our problems and reconnect with our innate capacity for compassion and kindness. This doesn't mean we should ignore our own needs or use service as a way to avoid dealing with our issues. But balanced with self-care, serving others can be a powerful antidote to the self-absorption that often accompanies difficult times. Now let's talk about the role of action in getting through life's low points. While it's important to work on our inner state, our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions, it's equally important to take concrete steps to improve our situation where possible. Sometimes when we're in a low point, we can become paralyzed. We may feel overwhelmed by the magnitude of our problems or unsure of what to do. In these moments, it's important to remember that we don't need to have it all figured out to take action. We just need to take one small step in a positive direction. This is the power of what I call inspired action. Inspired action comes not from a place of fear or desperation, but from a place of alignment with our higher self. It's action that feels right, that resonates with our deepest values and aspirations. To tap into inspired action, start by getting quiet and connecting with your inner wisdom. Ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do today to move in a positive direction? Then listen for the answer. It might be something as simple as making your bed, calling a friend, or spending 10 minutes in nature. Whatever it is, Do it. Then ask again and take the next step. As you continue this process, you'll find that one small action leads to another and another. Momentum builds. You start to feel more empowered, more in control of your life. You begin to see possibilities where before you only saw obstacles. Remember, progress doesn't always look like we think it should. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Sometimes it feels like we're going sideways or even backwards. But as long as we keep taking inspired action, keep moving in the direction of our dreams and values, we are making progress. This brings me to another important point, the need for patience and self-compassion as we move through life's difficulties. We live in a culture that often emphasizes quick fixes and instant results, but real, lasting change, whether in our external circumstances or our inner state, healing, growth, transformation. These are not linear processes. They often involve periods of intense change followed by periods of integration, times of clarity followed by times of confusion. This is natural and necessary. Just as a seed needs time in the darkness of the soil before it can sprout and grow towards the light, we too need time to process our experiences and integrate our learnings. So be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Recognize that you're doing the best you can with what you have in this moment. And know that every step you take, every effort you make, no matter how small it might seem, is contributing to your growth and evolution. Self-compassion is particularly important when we're going through difficult times. We often have a tendency to be our own harshest critics, berating ourselves for our perceived failures or shortcomings. But this self-criticism only adds to our suffering and does nothing to help us move forward. Instead, try treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a dear friend who is going through a tough time. Speak to yourself with words of encouragement and support. Acknowledge your efforts and your strengths. Remind yourself that you are worthy of love and respect, regardless of your current circumstances or past mistakes. This self-compassion is not about making excuses or avoiding responsibility. It's about creating a supportive inner environment that allows us to learn from our experiences and move forward with greater resilience and wisdom. As we cultivate self-compassion, we also open ourselves up to receiving compassion from others. We become more willing to reach out for support, to allow others to see our vulnerability, to receive the love and care that is always available to us if we're willing to accept it. Now, I want to address something that often comes up when we're going through difficult times, the question of why. Why is this happening to me? Why now? Why this particular challenge? These are natural questions to ask, but they can also be traps that keep us stuck in our suffering. The truth is, we may never fully understand the why behind our challenges. Life is complex, with countless interconnected factors influencing every situation. And trying to figure out the precise reason for our difficulties can be an exercise in futility that distracts us from the more important question. How can I respond to this situation in a way that aligns with my highest self? Instead of asking, why me? Try asking, what now? This shifts our focus from the past, which we can't change, to the present moment, where we have the power to choose our response. It moves us from a victim mentality to an empowered state. This doesn't mean we shouldn't reflect on our experiences or try to learn from them. Reflection and learning are crucial parts of the growth process. But there's a difference between reflective contemplation and obsessive rumination. The former leads to insight and growth, while the latter keeps us trapped in cycles of negative thinking. When we find ourselves caught in the why loop, it can be helpful to redirect our attention to the present moment. What's happening right now? What resources do I have available to me in this moment? What small step can I take right now to move in a positive direction? This focus on the present moment is a cornerstone of mindfulness practice, which can be an incredibly powerful tool for navigating life's difficulties. Mindfulness is simply the practice of bringing our full attention to the present moment without judgment. It's about experiencing life directly, rather than through the filter of our thoughts and beliefs about it. When we're mindful, we're able to observe our thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. We can see more clearly the reality of our situation rather than the stories our minds create about it. This clarity allows us to respond to our challenges with greater wisdom and effectiveness. Practicing mindfulness doesn't require hours of meditation or any special equipment. It can be as simple as taking a few deep breaths and bringing your full attention to the sensations in your body, or noticing the sights, sounds, and smells around you as you go about your day. The key is to keep gently bringing your attention back to the present moment whenever you notice your mind wandering into worries about the future or regrets about the past. As you cultivate this present moment awareness, you may find that many of your problems aren't as overwhelming as they seemed when you were caught up in thinking about them. You may discover moments of peace and even joy in the midst of difficulty, and you'll be better able to access your inner resources of wisdom and resilience. Now let's talk about another crucial aspect of getting through life's low points: the power of purpose. Viktor Frankl, whom I mentioned earlier, observed that those who were most likely to survive the horrors of the concentration camps were those who had a sense of purpose, a reason to live that went beyond their own survival. Having a sense of purpose gives us the strength to endure difficulties, the motivation to keep going when things get tough. It provides a context for our struggles, a larger framework that helps us make sense of our experiences. But what if you don't feel like you have a clear purpose? What if you're feeling lost or directionless in the midst of your challenges? This is where the concept of living on purpose comes in. Living on purpose doesn't necessarily mean having a grand, overarching life mission or thought. It means approaching each day, each moment, with intentionality and mindfulness. How can I bring more love into the world today? How can I use my unique gifts and talents to make a positive difference, no matter how small? How can I grow and learn from this experience? By asking these questions and acting on the answers, we begin to create a sense of purpose in our daily lives. We shift our focus from our problems to our potential, from what's wrong to what's possible. Moreover, our challenges themselves can become a source of purpose. As we work through our difficulties, we gain wisdom and strength that we can then share with others. Our struggles can become the compost from which our greatest contributions grow. Think about it. Some of the most inspiring and influential people in history have been those who have overcome great adversity. They've used their experiences not as excuses to give up, but as fuel for personal growth and service to others. In doing so, they've not only transformed their own lives, but have also made a profound impact on the world. You have the same potential within you. Your challenges, your pain, your struggles, they all contain within them the seeds of your greatest gifts to the world. As you work through your difficulties, ask yourself, how can I use this experience to become a force for you? How can my struggles become a source of strength and inspiration for others? This brings us to another powerful tool for navigating life's low points: the practice of gratitude. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Gratitude. When I'm going through such a difficult time, you must be joking, but hear me out. Gratitude is not about denying the reality of our challenges or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about intentionally shifting our focus to what's good in our lives, even in the midst of difficulty. It's about recognizing that no matter how dark things seem, there is always something to be grateful for if we're willing to look for it. When we practice gratitude, we activate the positive neural networks in our brains. We begin to see more possibilities, more reasons for hope. We become more resilient in the face of adversity. Start small. Each day, try to identify 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things: a warm cup of coffee, a kind word from a stranger, a beautiful sunset. As you make this a habit, you'll find that you start noticing more and more things to be grateful for. Your perspective begins to shift. And here's something really powerful. Try practicing gratitude for your challenges themselves. This doesn't mean you have to like them or want them to continue, but can you find something to appreciate about what they're teaching you, how they're helping you grow, the strengths they're helping you discover? When we can find gratitude, even in our difficulties, we transform our relationship with them. They become not just burdens to be endured, but opportunities for growth and transformation. Now let's talk about the importance of self-care when we're going through tough times. Often when we're facing challenges, we neglect our own needs. We might work longer hours, skip meals, sacrifice sleep, or stop exercising. We tell ourselves we don't have time for self-care, that we need to focus all our energy on solving our problem. But this approach is counterproductive. When we neglect our basic needs, we deplete our resources, physical, mental, and emotional. We become less resilient, less able to cope with our challenges effectively. Self-care isn't selfish. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity, especially when we're going through difficult times. It's about maintaining our well-being so that we have the strength and resources to face our challenges. Self-care looks different for everyone, but it generally involves taking care of our physical health through proper nutrition, exercise, and sleep. Our emotional health through practices like meditation, journaling, or therapy, and our spiritual health through practices that connect us with something larger than ourselves. It also involves setting boundaries, learning to say no to things that drain us and yes to things that nourish us. It means making time for activities that bring us joy and relaxation, even if it's just for a few minutes each day. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. By taking care of yourself, you're not just benefiting yourself, you're also better able to show up for others and contribute positively to the world around you. As we near the end of our time together, I want to touch on one final crucial point: the importance of hope. Hope is not just a passive feeling of optimism. It's an active force that can propel us forward even in the darkest of times. Hope is the belief that things can get better, that our efforts matter, that there's light at the end of the tunnel even if we can't see it yet. It's what gives us the strength to keep going when everything in us wants to give up. But hope isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we can cultivate and strengthen like a muscle. We do this by focusing on possibilities rather than limitations, by reminding ourselves of past challenges we've overcome, by surrounding ourselves with inspiring stories and people. We also cultivate hope through our actions. Every time we take a step, no matter how small, towards our goals or towards improving our situation, we're building hope. We're proving to ourselves that change is possible, that we have the power to influence our circumstances. And here's a powerful truth: hope is contagious. When we maintain hope in the face of difficulty, we become beacons of light for others. Our resilience inspires those around us, creating a ripple effect of positivity and possibility. As we come to the close of our time together, I want to leave you with this thought: you are stronger than you know. Within you lies an infinite well of wisdom, strength, and resilience. Your challenges, no matter how difficult they may seem, do not define you. They are simply part of your journey, opportunities for growth and transformation. Remember, every great story of triumph and success involves overcoming adversity. Your current difficulties are not the end of your story. They're just a chapter, and you have the power to write the next chapter. So I encourage you, embrace your challenges, learn from them, grow through them. Use them as catalysts for becoming more of who you truly are. And know that on the other side of your struggles lies a version of yourself that you can't even imagine right now. Stronger, wiser, more compassionate, more alive. You have everything you need within you to get through this difficult time. Trust in your inner wisdom. Believe in your inherent worth and potential. And never, never give up hope. Thank you for allowing me to share these thoughts with you today. May you find the strength, wisdom, and resilience within you to navigate whatever challenges life brings your way. And may you emerge from your difficulties not just having survived, but having thrived, more fully yourself, more connected to your purpose, and more aware of the incredible power that lies within you. Remember, the light you're seeking is not somewhere out there. It's within you. Let it shine even in the darkest of times, for it is often in our deepest struggles that we discover our greatest strength. Thank you, and may your journey be blessed.